Aloha everyone! Welcome to the Bishop Museum Science Never Sleeps on this lovely Friday. Today we are with Dr. Mulrooney. She is the Bishop Museum's anthropologist and we're going to be looking at something really interesting. What are we going to be looking at?
We are actually PXRFing some stone tools today.
Ooh, what does that mean?
So what this instrument is a portable X-ray fluorescence instrument. What that essentially means is that it's a laser gun.
Ooh, excited. Yep.
So what we're doing with this instrument, which is wonderful for the analysis of museum collections because it's completely non-destructive. So what we do is place the object in front of the laser and it emits lasers, and the data output, which you can see on the computer here, is actually the concentrations of 10 trace elements. So what can we do with that is the million-dollar question, right? Well, by comparing these concentrations that you see here of this tool to known geological sources, we can tell or get a good idea of where people are quarrying the stone to make these tools.
So it's really interesting for anthropologists and archaeologists because they can kind of trace back where these tools came from and make greater connections like...
Absolutely. So what we can do is reconstruct trade and exchange networks. And so using this technology, colleagues working across the Pacific Islands have found that people were moving things around a great deal for a very long time. So we found Hawaiian adzes as far as the Tuamotus.
Oh my goodness. So
Yeah.
this has really changed a lot of what had previously been thought of as the Polynesian migration, right?
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
so people, when they initially settled Hawaii and other archipelagos across the Pacific, they didn't stay put. They continued to voyage for hundreds and hundreds of years. And the artifacts that we've chosen today are part of a collaborative research program with Kekuewa Kikiloi, who's at the University of Hawaii at Manoa, and Peter Mills and Steve Lundblad, who are at UH Hilo. And what we're doing is comparing the results that we get with the portable X-ray fluorescence with a much larger machine. So they've actually already run all of these with their larger machine, and we're seeing whether we get the same kind of precision with the two different instruments, so that we have a better idea of whether those are two comparable data sets or not.
Oh, great. Okay, so this is really, it's seeing how precise it is as well as compiling even more data to support what you found.
Yeah. And do you want to know where these adzes are from?
Yes, absolutely.
All right. Well, we actually have brought out all of our collections from the islands of Mokumanamana and Nihoa, which are located in Papahanaumokuakea, or the northwestern Hawaiian Islands. Some of these we had actually just pulled because we're getting ready for our new exhibit, Journeys, which is going to open on August 14th. And so some of these are going to be on display. But for the collections-based analysis, we decided to analyze the entire collection.
Now, are all of these adzes?
They are. So what you'll see is some very nice, very detailed, polished adzes, and those are complete. Those are finished adzes. What these are is what we call preforms. So they're not yet finished. These are adzes that are in construction. And you can see that they're not quite as polished on their surface, but they are, on their way to becoming very beautiful tools like these.
Which is very, is it important to have, aside from the finished tools, some of the precursors to these finished tools?
Yeah, I mean, archaeologists, what we deal mostly with is ancient trash. Things that were discarded. So, you don't always have the finished tools in the assemblage when you're excavating. What we often find is, human activity. And so sometimes we find things that are broken, or perhaps somebody was working with this particular object and they decided it wasn't really taking the shape that they wanted it to. So they went ahead and threw it away. And there it was for archaeologists to uncover during excavations in the 1920s when BishopMuseum traveled up there, and Kenneth P. Emery did a number of excavations on both Nihoa and Mokumanamana.
Now, looking back at our collections, have you found anything really interesting with the fluorescence, X-ray fluorescence gun?
We have, actually. We had one particular object that is in our ethnology collections that came to the museum in 1920. And at that time, there were two collections that came in. One was from New Britain, which is north of Papua New Guinea. The other was from Rapa Nui, or Easter Island. And one particular tool, because it had a shape that was sort of similar to the Rapa Nui tools, got put with them, even though it was actually part of the New Britain collection. And we didn't realize that we had made an error in classifying this as a Rapa Nui tool until we used this instrument to PXRF it. The chemistry was way out in left field compared to all the Rapa Nui Mata. And so we realized that it wasn't from Rapa Nui. So we went back to the paperwork, realized that a mistake had been made, and then I called a colleague at the Australian National Museum named Robin Torrance, who's an expert in obsidian tools from New Britain, and she sent me all the source material, right, from the geological sources so that we could compare the tool to the source and tell which quarry it came from. And we were actually able to do that. We were able to source it to the exact quarry where that material came from, and that changed the picture of the history of that region as well. So really exciting discovery.
So something really interesting that it was like almost nearly 100 years ago that it was misplaced.
Yeah.
Misclassified. And with newer technology, we're looking back at our collections again and we're finding new things.
You got it.
Which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, I'm super excited about our upcoming Journeys exhibit, and I guess a lot of people don't really realize that our northwestern Hawaiian Islands were actually inhabited as well by ancient Hawaiian people, which is fantastic.
Absolutely.
Anything else you'd like to share with us about that?
No, I mean, I think the Journeys exhibit really showcases the importance of that area, both culturally and naturally. Lots of endemic species of fish and birds and other wildlife, even some snails. So that's going to be fun. And so we're really excited to share some of these cultural treasures from that area that have never been on exhibit.
That's going to be super exciting. I can't wait. That's going to be great. Okay, well, thank you, Mara, so much for joining us. I hope to see you on future episodes of our Science Never Sleeps, for sure. And please join us. Our Journeys exhibit is going to be opening on August 14th. And it's going to be pretty spectacular if you want to see some really great, interesting things. Stay tuned with us here on Facebook Live with the Bishop Museum. We're going to be showcasing some more stuff about the Journeys exhibit, as well as other really neat things behind the scenes in our collections. So thanks for joining us. Visit our website, bishopmuseum.org, and we'll see you next week on Science Never Sleeps.